Yeah, 500. You may see an actual saline lock kit. That's right, yeah. You may see a saline lock kit, which will contain just about everything you'll need, or they may just have the raw supplies. Either way, what you'll have is a list of either the big foam boards with the list of things that you'll need, or they'll have a sheet of paper with all the things that you need. So when you're packing your aid bag, you can just go down and just, okay, I need 2 of these, 2 of these, 1 of these, that type of thing. Just remember while you're packing, there are a lot of small things that tend to drop, become contaminated. Yeah, where's my folder?
The folder around it?
No, it's all right. If you need to start, that's fine.
No, I don't. I have my own. Folder.
If you, there are things that could possibly become contaminated, or you may, like, you know, I was the guy who they used to call for difficult sticks, and I went to put the IV in, and I hit the one dry rotted part of the vein, and it just kind of hit and deflected off to the side, and I wasn't able to stick it in there, and I ended up ruining a needle. Fortunately, I brought 2 more where I was able to use, you know, one of those. Read the list carefully though, because there are differences. Like, your list will call for a certain number of 18 gauge needles, then it'll also call for 21 gauge needles. It's on your, it'll be actually on your sheet. So just make sure that you go through the list carefully, and you have everything you need. Pay attention when they're doing during standardization week, just like I keep preaching, because they may say, hey, you can prep everything ahead of time, or they may say you can't prep anything ahead of time. You will have to assemble it on the scene when you're there. Okay, well, like I was saying, so here's your, if you're lucky enough to have one of these, make sure you read the, I was going to say the ingredients, make sure you read the contents list. That way you'll know that this only has 1 18 gauge needle, and I'll need 2, so grab a second one. If you have one of these, you'll still need to draw up fluids, which is okay because you'll have a bag. You may have a flush that's already built for you, so you may want to grab one of those if they have it. Always grab the raw supplies though, just in case something happens, so you can rebuild. I'm going to open this ahead of time so that way we can go through it, and because I need the tourniquet. There we go. 2 types of tourniquets. There's the what do you call it? The Velcro band, and then the actual rubber band or non-latex, you know, band. Remember, you're not out here to actually stick an IV, so if you can get away with using one of these, then, and it's easier for you, then use it, because you'll be doing this with gloves on. Usually, they'll let you pre-tear all of your tape, so I would suggest, you know that you're going to need 3 pieces of tape for this, so at least have 3 pieces of tape already pre-measured. And I believe that is all. So, man, last year this was weird. Oh, she's not here. I saw the blonde hair and just. So typically, your IV will be your IV will be your shock patient, which will usually also be your external hemorrhage patient. So you'll go through all of the steps, and you'll check for color, condition, temperature of the skin, and you'll say, and they'll tell you the skin is cool and clammy, or yeah, cold and clammy to the touch. Then you'll check your pulse. There's no or you'll check your dorsal pulse, and there won't be a dorsal pedis pulse. So you'll move up. You'll check your CCT, and the patient will be cool and clammy to the touch. So you'll check your radial pulse, and they'll have a pulse there. So you'll know that, hey, the patient has lost a great volume of blood. They will have they'll be cool and clammy to the touch, and they'll be missing the distal pulse on their foot. So they're exhibiting 3 of the signs and symptoms of shock. So we're going to initiate an IV. Let's read. We'll go through the steps slowly. Somebody.
Initiate a saline lock and intravenous infusion. 1 is take body substance isolation precaution.
I'll put my gloves on. We don't have gloves today, so no gloves. BSI. No. Actually, we do have gloves. I don't know what size these are, though.
They're small.
Mediums. Perfect. I'll fit everyone, right?
It's medium.
Pretty big hands.
All right, so BSI. And time in.
Oh, prepare to establish saline lock. And assemble and inspect the necessary equipment for defects, expiration date, and contamination.
All right, so that's your DEC, your DEC abbreviation, defects, expiration date, contaminants. They will usually let you do everything all at one time. So even though they're two separate procedures are part of the one procedure, they'll usually allow you to do everything. So just say, hey, I'm examining for defects, defects, expiration date, contaminants. Oops. Defects. Looking for DEC. Looking for DEC. 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 Everything's good to go. So, oh, and don't throw these away. We need these. We only have a set number today. All right, so we're good to go. Everything is here. Next step.
You don't want us to list the equipment? No.
Now,
Okay.
you have it in front of you.
Explain the procedure and purpose of saline lock to the casualty.
This is important because you're supposed to reassure the casualty throughout, and one of the things that they can technically get you as a no-go for causing further injury is just sticking the patient without explaining to the patient, hey, this is what we're doing. So let the patient know. Does it place the patient in a comfortable position and say something to the effect of, hey, buddy, you're exhibiting some of the signs and symptoms of shock, of hypovolemic shock. So what I'm going to do is administer or initiate what's called a saline lock. That'll help to open up a port just in case I have to start an IV later on. Don't know, maybe I'm just psychic, but you may need an IV shortly. So you've explained the procedure.
Place the casualty in a comfortable position with arms supported.
He is comfortable.
Select catheter insertion site.
I'm going right here.
Prepare the insertion site. Apply constricting band 2 inches above venipuncture site. Tight enough to stop venous flow, but not so tight that the radial pulse cannot be felt.
Okay, good to go.
Clean skin without an alcohol or betadine swab in a circular motion from the center outward.
You don't have to open these today because I only have the 2 until we open up another. So just, simulate. I'm cleaning in an outward circular motion. Make sure you say, though, I am cleaning the site in an outward circular motion, or, outward concentric circles.
Insert the saline lock. Perform the venipuncture. Hold catheter with dominant hand and remove protective cover without contaminating the needle.
All right, so one of the things I talked about this weekend is, and I just hit upon, is making sure to prepare all of your equipment. So your equipment has to be clean. Try not to drop it on the ground. So what we'll do is open everything up, prepare it all. This will be a lot easier to do prior to actually trying to start the IV. So make sure that you have all of your equipment assembled. Once you inspect for defects, expiration date, and contaminants, you'll be able to open everything up. So
Can you put it on the top of a chuck?
you can, if you have a chuck with you, you can put it on the top of the chuck. You can place it on the patient. However, keep in mind that it's a live patient and they're going to kind of be moving around a little bit. So you can place it on your aid bag. However, if you drop something and you have to go into your aid bag, then you're jostling everything around. Oh man, I don't have one of the aid bags with me today. You can open it on the ground. Just make sure that it's in an area where you're not going to kick dirt onto it. excuse me, or knock it over. One of the first things you're going to need to do is you're going to get a jump on your task. You have to flush the IV with 5 milliliters of fluid. So right now we're going to carefully, without sticking yourself, draw 5 milliliters of fluid. All right, and see that? Look at that. That bag is perfect too. My tape is already pre-cut. I have it down here. Normally I'll have it just taped all over the place on the inside of my bag or on plastic places where you can get to. I'm going to already pre-assemble my IV because, like I said, I just have this weird feeling that he's going to need an IV. Move your roller clamp up to within, and be careful because you're going to be kneeling down, so don't let that drag on the ground. Within 6 to 8 inches of the drip chamber, lock it off.
What was I think Captain Lambert was saying, or Kuhlman was saying, to kind of do the shaka or however you want to call it.
Yeah, you can measure
the drip point all the way down to the lock.
I just moved it up and said I'm moving this to within 6 to 8 inches of the drip chamber. And like I said, this is all just part of the getting things ready. They may allow you to do this. I would recommend it. So I'd hang my IV bag 6 to 12 or 12 inches, approximately 12 inches above the patient's heart. If there's a place, then hang it. They'll typically have a place for you to hang it. If not, then place it behind the patient's shoulder. Now that's all set up and ready to go. I have my next alcohol pad opened up and ready to go. I have my 2x2 opened up and ready to go. All right.
Hold flask chamber with thumb and forefinger directly above the vein.
Don't go too fast.
Those are the old ones.
Yeah, old school medic. All right, if you have some of these that have the safety lock, make sure to